But we don't show prep, so so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-Rig Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Fish, and DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real put alive from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-Rig champs. There's more to the dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
What's going on, everybody? Good evening. Welcome back. What a difference 1 week makes, huh? What a difference. I mean, I know Blue already called me. He told me we're going undefeated this year. College football playoffs. We're going to win Natty. So, I mean, DJ was jumping up and down. He already bought a Cam Ward t-shirt. I mean,
if DJ was jumping up and down, that would be something.
Trying to anyway, man.
This is my point, right? This is my point, right? Like we're we're going crazy here. No, but
Mr. Santana, you want to answer for this?
Yeah. I was having some technical difficulties on my computer.
But you got a new computer, man. You got
the Cuban, live true to form.
Definitely. Well, it wasn't my fault. Like I was just trying to fix the computer, so finally got it working. And yeah, man, we're back at it here. We've got obviously some pretty big news to talk about. I know everybody wants to talk about Cam Ward.
I will say I am glad we're not
finally committing.
Yeah, but I will say I'm glad we're pretty much the only show that didn't pretend like Reese Poffenberger was the second coming of Joe Burrow or something in the last week.
We did stick to
Jazz.
Even Jazz was a little bit more muted on our show, at least. I don't know what he was,
because I saw you on the other show, Jazz. Oh my God, looked like you were his freaking adopted dad.
Yeah,
you went on, man.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'm not here to bash any kids.
I'm not bashing them either.
No, we're not bashing them. He's just not the answer.
And we didn't anoint him a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a settle. Well, obviously, at this point, now we can all say there was another claim in the works.
I think now it's a good pickup, like a really good one, because he can sit behind these, Cam and compete and develop a little bit more, and who knows, right? He could be a guy next
Where's
year.
JB going?
I mean, there's 5 quarterbacks here now.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know if Ja'Cory Brown goes anywhere, right? I really don't. I think that he still understands this. I mean, this is my take, right? I still feel like he understands he's got some developing to do, and I mean, I think this is a perfect guy for him to develop under. Is a guy like Cam Ward, and so just before we get too deep into that, right? Into how it's going to affect this, this team, the quarterback room, and all that. To be quite honest with you, I know all of us on this show, actually, none of us have been here sitting here going, oh my God, we really need Cam Ward. Oh my God, he is the best. He's like you said, Vish, right? The second coming of Jesus Christ. Like, this is the guy.
I will say I carried the Cam Ward torch for a while, and I
You
wanted
did,
to
you
temper
did.
it because you guys were all. So I wanted to temper my expectations, but I was really hoping Miami landed Ward. I'm not going to even lie.
Look, I'm really happy about it, right? I found out when I found out I was watching another debauchery, but the truth is, I think at the moment I got caught up in the moment when I found out that he committed finally, and I got really excited because look, it's a shiny new object, it's a shiny new toy, it's the number one quarterback in the transfer portal, and oh my God, this guy's an absolute stud, and he could take us to the prom. Like, all those thoughts kind of go through people's heads, right? Well, I kind of did that a little bit. I was like, yes, we got him. I was with my buddy Gus Fish, him, and we were like, yes, we got him. We got Cam Ward. And then you kind of like sit back and you think, all right, this is a good pickup. This is a good pickup. This is not, this whole, oh my God, we just picked up Trevor Lawrence in the transfer portal. Oh my gosh, we just picked up Joe Burrow, like you said, Fish, right? But he's a good football player, man. He's a good quarterback. He's got really nice traits. As some people would say, elite traits, NFL traits, right? He can come in and really make a difference on this football team. Yeah. I still want to see him put it together on the field, because he still has a little bit of developing to do. So I want to see him put it all together on the field. What was your first reaction, Vish? Your initial reaction? I know you texted me. As a matter of fact, I found out through you because I was watching a stupid Dolphins game. And when I'm not paying attention, everything happens.
So. There were no NFL games played this weekend, and we're not talking about that. So,
all get on the same page.
I don't know what this Dolphins NFL stuff you're talking about.
Better than my Patriots, man. At least you made the playoffs.
We're gonna leave all that in the past. Nothing happened this weekend, football-wise, in that sense. Yeah, no, my initial reaction, I was surprised. I think everyone was just out of nowhere. He committed. I know, as DJ said, DJ kind of had a plug on this and knew that stuff was still kind of happening, but he just dropped his commitment on the timeline. It was like, huh.
Yeah.
And actually, if you went to his profile, it was like the last thing before this was his video saying he was entering the draft. So, kind of interesting times here. But no, my reaction was we needed to upgrade the quarterback room from last year. Just let's back up to December, right? So TVD goes in the portal, and we need to upgrade that position from him. And there are only a few guys in the portal that would necessarily do that, and this is one of them. So I'm ecstatic. Like it's an upgrade at a key position that we needed because Van Dyke for all his faults, you could definitely do worse. So it wasn't a slam dunk that we were going to get a definitely better quarterback. And like I said, it was him, it was Will Howard. There's a few guys you're like, yeah, that guy's definitely better.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't that top tier of guys that we wanted. I don't know if he was like our first pick initially, right? I think we had some other guys, potentially not higher per se, but some guys that we kind of liked as well, a little bit more, maybe about the same. So I'm happy about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm super happy about it because I think this puts Miami in a really good position at the quarterback room. Blue even mentioned it, right? Blue, you remember you mentioned last week, you said Reese Poffenbarger was a Plan Z guy. Someone mentioned, Rockin' Rant actually mentioned it in the chat. He said he was a Plan Z guy. And so we went from a Plan Z guy to a Plan A guy. And that's huge. That's really huge. Mario, as stubborn and as hard-headed as he is, it worked out for him this time. So, what's your take on Cam Ward finally pulling the trigger and committing to Miami?
Well, like Vish says, it was a position of need as far as quality. And this is somebody when he has some weapons around him, which he potentially does. I think he's going to really raise his game. I don't know if he's at Plan A, but he's certainly right up there. He's a guy that, as you said, it's like a threefold type of thing. I mean, he's going to come in and be an immediate impact, but at the same time, his residual of helping some of the other quarterbacks is going to help Miami down the road. And yeah, he's very athletic, tremendous. He reads the field pretty well. He makes mistakes, but everybody does. I mean, you take a look at from and I also agree with Vish when he said, as crazy as Van Dyke was and inconsistent, I mean, he was still a Power 5 quarterback, and so you didn't want to. I mean, nothing against you, Albany, but that's that's quite a leap, from having somebody like Van Dyke who was a 3-year performer at this level and going to somebody who didn't, but now you do. And I think it's important to understand that. I know, Jazz. I know that. I think that the $2 million kind of bailed Mario out here. It really did, because he had. I think this time last week, and everybody will agree. I mean, everybody was like second and third guessing Mario, and go, wait a minute, you know what? And even you last week, Jazz. I mean, you were saying, oh wait, he's so stubborn. He's going to blow all these opportunities. And
well, I think the money was always there, and I don't think they ever really gave up on him, given that he never filled up. He said, I'm entering the draft. He never actually did the paperwork or signed with an agent.
Right.
Did the steps you need to enter the draft. But no, I think the $2 million was there the whole time. That wasn't
Well, it was restructured. It was changed. It was negotiated on a couple times. But bottom line is,
he was going to get his money. He was going to get his money, and
that's what it's all about.
I mean, this is the fine line between success and failure, and at this level, right? I mean, now he could have settled for a mid-tier guy, bird in hand. He risked a lot. He basically pushed his chips in because, again, Ja'Carri Brown or Reese Poffenberger starting in Gainesville on Labor Day weekend is not a good thing. But he risked it to get the guy he wanted, and this time he did. Easily could have gone the other way. But that's the fine lines between everything at this level, and this time it panned out. It's a big get, and it's gonna bring. I would guess. I think the actual dual threat we've been looking for out of that position for a while, because I mean, Ja'Carri's just not as polished as a passer to really provide that right now. He's got that ability, but he's still got to. And every other quarterback we've had back there since D'Eriq King can't run. So it's gonna open some things up on the playbook, which will be nice. And it's someone with a lot of experience. He's played in big games. He's played against good opponents. So this is about going to the portal and understanding the quarterback's leaving. And you have to replace him and hopefully upgrade. This is about as good as the Canes could have done. So it's hard to complain here.
I agree. And fun little thing, Blue. You mentioned U Albany as where Reese played. Listen, Cam Ward comes from a small school, FBS school too, Incarnate Word. But the difference there is, Blue, he's got some Power 5 experience under his belt. So I think that's going to play huge. Now, here's the biggest thing, and DJ, I want to kind of throw it to you on this, right? This, and I know you like this is kind of like your thing, right? You say this a lot. This is your saying. This moves the needle now. Okay, this moves the needle for potential wide receivers and skill position players that were maybe not so excited about coming to Miami before, transfer portal guys, right? Even recruits, right? Now this moves the needle, right? So now you might see some of these guys start to come down on visits more, be more excited about it. How do you think that factors in to Cam Ward being here and the rest of this the rest of this roster filling out the way that Mario and the staff wanted to?
I think it definitely plays a factor because as a receiver, you want assurances that you're going to get the football. I mean, that's a no-brainer right there. But also, you want to make sure you have stability at the quarterback position. And so with Cam Ward, Miami, has that stability at the cornerback position. Not only do they have stability right now, but they have a projected starter. So then you can kind of, if you're a wide receiver, who the starter is going to be, all things considered. That you're going to be able to get the football in your hands, and that you're going to get a quarterback that makes you look better. And, I think that is also, big too. You're going to get a receiver-friendly quarterback. And I think Cam Ward is a very easy sell in that regard. So that's going to make receivers want to come here. I mean, just look at the talent that we've been able to amass in the wide receiver room before Cam Ward. Now it's going to be even better. And I think it's going to help Miami take that next step.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. By the way, he's on top of the fact that he's a polished thrower, right? Because he's a pretty accurate thrower. He had a little bit of an issue with fumbles, and I think that was the biggest knock on him. Was, oh my gosh, he doesn't hold on or take care of the football too well. That's something that you can kind of fix, correct, and help out. So I'm not too concerned about that. I am, however, kind of looking forward to him, coming in early now and gelling with the players that are here now, maybe even getting, in better shape than he already is. Listen, the kid's actually not, I think he's bigger than a lot of people realize. He's about 6'2", 220, which he might not look at when you first look at him, but he's made up solidly. He's got good presence as a quarterback back there. So I think that, him being able to come in, getting in the weight room, getting in the program here with Miami, and then ultimately getting his timing down with his wide receivers now and the guys that are coming. Because I think JoJo, Nykar, Chance. Chance isn't in here yet because I don't think St. Thomas can graduate early. But I think the other guys might be here already. Is JoJo here already, Blue? Can they graduate early? Can Chaminade graduate early?
Yeah. They
can. Okay. I think so. I think JoJo's.
I think everybody's on that pace except for.
I think St. Thomas can't, right?
Yeah, St. Thomas is the only one.
Gotcha. Okay, so I mean, look, it's an opportunity for him to come in and right away and like I said, gel with the guys that are here now. Speaking of the guys that are here now, I know there's been a lot of question marks about wide receivers and what we're going to do in the transfer portal. There's some guys here that are still, that there's still some question marks on, right? I think the biggest one is potentially our most talented receiver right now is Jacoby George. Incident that he had this past weekend, with the arrest and whatnot. Look, he's had a string of of mishaps, whether it's been on the field or off the field. So it kind of begs the question: is he a guy that's going to stay here? Is he a guy that's going to be here in the long run? That is a culture thing, right? Where Mario is really big on. I think that's the biggest question mark with Cam Ward. Also, is he a culture fit with this team? Also, so do you have to if you're Mario Cristobal, kind of sit down with these two individually, and more obviously more with Jacoby. He's been here for a couple of years with Mario already. He's got to be better than that, right? You got to do better. Cam Ward is another guy where there's been talk about it, but I don't think since he's been at Wazoo, there really has been much of an issue. But it's always stuff that's going to come up. Do you think that what's going on with with Jacoby George, some of the other wide receivers that obviously transferred out already, as we saw Brashard Smith committed to SMU today as well. So it's the SMU Hurricanes apparently over there now. But do you think that that's going to play a big part in what they do in the transfer portal and potentially recruiting for 2025? Because there's going to be a lot of movement there, Blue, with the wide receivers. I know there's some guys out there right now that Miami's taking a look at. I know McMillan at Arizona is one. I know there's a kid from Wake Forest, although I think he already committed somewhere. So there's a couple of different guys that are out there. And obviously now you have to wait and see what happens with the kids from Alabama and Washington, some and things like that because of all the moves with the coaching staffs. So you've got a lot of movement. You got a lot of players that might start coming out now and hitting the portal now, some really good players. This is going to play a big role in what they do with that wide receiver position, right, Blue?
Well, you have to set guidelines, and you know what? If you're going to let somebody get away with something, then you're going to lose the rest of the team. So you have to, as you said, sit down with them. Yeah, Jamal Banks, that's who it was. If you're going to let one guy pretty much get away with, and he's had a few problems. I mean, penalties, not discipline, and So you're going to have to give him that short leash type of guy thing. And I think he and Mario are going to need to sit down and say, listen, you've been here, like you said, Jazz, for a while. And we need you to set examples, and we don't need you to be the example. And I think that's what's going to happen. And if he doesn't play by the team rules, he'll be at SMU also.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much. Yeah.
I would also say, I mean, we talked a lot about, we're over the scholarship limit, so some people have to leave.
yeah.
And we do actually have a lot of bodies at wide receiver. A lot of them are young, like Jazz said. I mean, if we go through the quality of the untested young players, it's off the chart at that position. So we maybe will go into the portal and get a guy, but I actually think it's more likely some of our more experienced players leave and we just play younger players at that position. Because I mean, you're not going to push out some of the guys we have there to make room for a 1-year portal guy. The guy, and I think Jacoby George might just put a target on himself there as kind of like being voluntold to leave now at this point, given the way the season ended, and then this behavior is not going to paint him in the best light. And we do have to, frankly, exit some people off the roster just to be compliant with the scholarship limits.
Right. That's another thing.
So-
Right? We're over by like 5 or 6 guys right
Yeah,
now.
so I forget I'm spacing the name. The Alabama transfer we got as a defensive tackle is not going to stay here, so that's one.
Right.
But there's still a handful more that are going to need to leave, especially if people are talking about still going into the portal and getting more. Everyone that comes in, someone's got to go out,
Right.
and an additional 5. So, if you do that, to Blue's point, if you do something knuckleheaded now, I mean, you're putting a target on your back.
You're just setting yourself up. And the whole thing is then you could justify, hey, listen, we're moving in a different direction. We need to have somebody we could rely on and off the field. And, I mean, Restrepo obviously is the guy that the kids gravitate towards. And, he'll end up with 2 degrees. He's a good dude. He never had any problems. He was all ACC. But you need something better out of Jacoby. If he stays around, his name can never pop up outside the football field again. Just can't.
And that is a
It's
good
just-
point. We do have Restrepo, who's one of the leading receivers in school history and catches everything you throw near him, runs his
Right.
routes correctly, gets to the right spot. So there is a security blanket for whoever. One of our receivers is like excellent. So we have that going for us.
Right.
And
But
it's
he's not
like, it's
only
going-
that, Vish. He's a guy that, sets a positive example. And you get your incoming freshman and, Kevin could say, hey, listen, just, play off of what he does on and off the field. I mean, in the classroom, on the, because socially and you're not, we don't need you to make your name outside the lines. And if they do, like Jacoby has, it's not in keeping with how you're going to build this program. You got to set the guidelines while you're 7-5, 7-6, because you can't do it and be successful. And, I mean, not a cut to anybody, but I mean, let's take a step back and, look at your successful programs. And, the police blotter isn't exactly lining up at Georgia and Alabama and schools like that. So you gotta have somebody set examples. And he's a great receiver, and we've seen it. We've seen him play, at an elite level.
That's the perfect metaphor. Human stickum.
Yep.
And also,
By
I mean,
the way, find the man. Find Max. Max, we'll find you, bro. I'll send you my Venmo later.
we're finding him anyway. He showed up.
Yeah, but he wants to get fined. See, so I do get fined. All right, we'll find you then.
I think he left out the do not. It's the old Marshawn Lynch thing.
Too bad. I know. Oh man, it's true. It's true, and I think that that's why I think I'm happy that Restrepo is back, because nobody works harder than that man.
No.
Nobody does everything right the way he does. Nobody works out harder. Nobody, is in the classroom works harder. The discipline, the ethics, the way that he practices, everything that he does is the exact replica of what you want everybody else to do on your team. So I think that that's a great example of having. You see, he did it with a purpose. That's a great example to have in that room, if you got other guys screwing up, you still got. I'm really. By the way, can you hear that ping? Can you
No.
guys hear it? No, thank God. I mean, it's
Nope.
driving me crazy. Now I gotta shut off all.
Now
these
that you got a
buttons.
new computer.
Yeah. Now I gotta shut off all these buttons. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great example to have in that room.
Keep the
especially
receipt.
when other no kidding, right? You know,
If it was Home
there's-
Depot, you could take it back 10 years later and return it. And they'd take it.
No kidding, right? Oh man, there it is again. The damn beep, Jesus. Anyways,
In your head, man. It's in
Yeah,
your
it's
head.
in my head.
The voices are coming back. Yes, the voices
It's
are
in my
coming back.
head. Oh my gosh! Look, I'm excited for what Cam Ward's going to be able to do for this team, not only in the quarterback room but in all the other facets of the game. Look, it puts the defense in a good position that now they're maybe they feel more confident, right? I know that they had some stretches last season where they didn't play so well, right? And then they had stretches where they played really well, and there was nothing that the offense could do to help them out. And so I think now if you get a guy like Cam Ward in here to to be able to really sustain this offense and make it go the whole entire time, I think that puts less stress on the defense, gives them more confidence to play, pin their ears back, and play a little bit more, aggressively the way Guidry wants to play. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you've still got, I believe C.J. Daniels is still out there in the transfer portal. You got the kid McMillan who's out there.
Is CJ Daniels the Liberty kid? I think he committed to LSU today.
Did he? Okay,
Oh,
so
he did.
Gotcha. Okay, so he might have gone. Yeah, he may have gone to LSU. But again, there's going to be other options. There's going to be other opportunities. So we're pretty excited to see what Cam Ward's going to do. I am one that it kind of just made my day, man, because look, at the end of the day, we were talking last week about how Mario had, he blew this, right? He completely ruined it. And his stubbornness and his pride or his ego got the best of him. And there's some other guys out there. And look, they ended up paying off, right? In every facet of the word payoff. Because the truth is, the NIL deal, the NIL changes the game, man. The NIL changes the whole entire game. Yes, Fresh, the JUCO wide receiver. That's another guy that I know that we've been looking at as well. Can't remember his name either. And then, of course, Max Kesselholt, who is another big-time guy, 6'4", about 220, 230, maybe a little bit less, but he runs like a deer. So we're pretty excited about Max coming in for his workout and meeting with. I'm just kidding. The NIL deal is going to be like a $5 NIL deal for him. So I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain
he's going to have to pay it. That's part of his fine.
That's part of his fine. Right. Yeah, Leland Smith. There you go. Leland Smith. Thanks, Max. JUCO kid is Leland Smith. So, there's still some options out there. And look, at the end of the day, I think Cam Ward just makes them better anyways, right? He's a hell of a quarterback. So you bring in a guy that's already talented here. Now you put him together with a really good quarterback, and that's just going to be, that much better. Let's talk a little bit about some other positions that we haven't really been able to get to. Obviously we'll take some of the questions in the chat as well. But, another one, Elijah Alston, right? I don't think we spoke about him last week. If we did, very little. But I think that was a huge pickup for the Hurricanes. A kid who was committed to Texas A&M, flipped over to Miami. But a kid that's going to come in, and I think he's going to have a huge impact on this team. He understands the defense already because he played a couple years under Lance Guidry over at Marshall. So I think this was kind of a no-brainer for him to come in, be an edge guy. A lot of people don't think we need the help there. But there's some guys that have transferred out. There's some guys that are coming off of injuries. Mesidor, Nigel Lee Kelly coming off some injuries. So now you pair him with a guy like Ruben Bain and some of the other young guys that I think. Do you think he'll? I'll answer that. He's being facetious here about Elijah Alston if he'll fit the Lance Guidry system. I think he'll fit it all right considering he played for 2 years at Marshall. So I think that's a perfect fit for us. Solid kid. He's about 6'3", 240, 245. Blue, what are your thoughts on Elijah Alston?
Big time kid. That's the one thing too, and as Vish alluded to, you just can't be taking bodies, without losing some of the bodies. So anybody that you're going to bring in has got to be a difference maker. It's got to be an upgrade type guy, and yeah, I think he'll help quite a bit. Yeah, you talk about edge rushers potentially in the next couple of years if everybody
Yep.
reaches their potential. Holy mackerel.
Yep.
Got a few. But yeah, Alston is a really, really good football talent. I think where we are now is when you get somebody, and I think you determine how hard you work to get somebody, you got to figure if he comes, does he upgrade what we have? And if the answer is yes, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. What's your take, Vish, on a kid like Elijah Alston coming in and being so familiar with the Guidry scheme already? I think that helps, right? Some of the young kids like Lightfoot and Booker Pickett and those guys that are coming in with already some momentum, playing really well in their all-star games, but also hey, they might have an opportunity to come in and get some playing time as well. Now you got a kid like Alston who can be able to teach them the ropes and some of the guys that are already here now.
Yeah, no, it's a big advantage that he's familiar with the scheme and can come in and hopefully add some solidity to our defense. Because when you play a bunch of young guys, there's going to be a level of chaos there. So someone that kind of you can trust. Not to bring back Blues guy, but someone like Corey Flagg, who was never the most talented, but would be in the right place, right? And you need that too. You need that too. You need a guy that knows the plays will line up correctly, be in the right place, read the coverage correctly. I think we kind of forgot how good Mesidor is because he was out last year injured. 2 years ago, he was all ACC. Now you're putting him and Bain on the defensive line. You're gonna F some people up with those two guys.
Well, you could also move Mesidor in on some packages. And
I think Guidry's gonna have a lot of fun playing around with that defensive line with those two guys as your edge rushers. Because by the end of the year, they were double and triple teaming Bain.
Yep.
If you do that with Mesidor on the field, you're going to be in trouble. So it's going to be exciting to see those guys both on the field finally. After Mesidor had the weird thing last year where he was. What was it? 1 week it was he's about to practice, and then 2 days later he's out for the year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's standard injury reports coming out of Hecht there, but getting him back is a huge piece for this defense because we did lose quite a bit. Both of our safeties, Leonard Taylor, those are big losses that you have to fill. But getting Mesidor back is a huge addition of someone we know can play at a really high level at this level. So
two good linemen, obviously, who really
CJ Clark, Marley Cook. Those guys are some big time talents as well that are going to create some havoc on the inside. Yeah, this is a question from Jordan Roebuck and Fresh. We'll discuss the running backs in a second, but Jordan Roebuck mentioned why can't we get a big time cornerback like a Desiree? Look. I think it's a good question. I think we've been able to get a guy like Savion Riley, who committed from Vanderbilt, the transfer kid from Vanderbilt. We also got we'll talk about him as well. We also got Jason Taylor's son, Isaiah Taylor, transferred over from Arizona. He's a safety. He's another potential prospect who has some snaps under his belt. So he's a kid that can come in and contribute on from a depth perspective. I don't know if he's your starting caliber, safety, but he could be, right? I mean, under the right guys here, he could be. So, but Savion Riley comes in. He's got an opportunity to come in and be an impact guy right away. Zaquan Patterson, obviously, he's a freshman, so he's not a transfer guy, but I think he's going to come in and make some noise right away, paired alongside a kid like Jaden Harris. But they bring up a good point, Blue. And I want to get your take and DJ's as well on the cornerback situation, right? Nothing yet really moving on the cornerback situation. You do have Damari Brown here, who obviously is gonna, he's gonna lock down one side. The surprise was he didn't put his name in the portal when his brother left and committed to FSU, which is good job. But anyways, I'm going to leave that there. But it's true, right? The cornerback situation is a tricky one. What do you think Miami is doing there? Why haven't they snatched one of these guys like AJ Harris or or Nyland Green, I believe his name was, the other kid from
Nyland
Georgia.
Green, and
Yeah,
I
some other
think they're
guys like that. Yeah.
they're starting to work on these guys. Obviously, I mean they're doing what they can do. You know, I mean these guys want to kind of shop around and see what else is going on. Look at Grimes. Grimes from A&M is now at UNLV. So you never look at this whole portal has turned a lot of things in kind of upside down. So you never know. You really never know what's gonna transpire. Look at, I mean, last week we're sitting there thinking Ward was gonna be a third, fourth round in the NFL, and now he's gonna be in Coral Gables eating lunch next week. So
Yep.
I think spring is gonna be nice. I'm gonna try to get out to a couple of scrimmages during spring, because I think it's really going to be competitive. You're not going to have, like last year, if you remember, Vish, when we went, I think that when you go down to watch a scrimmage or a spring game or whatever, you had more guys that weren't dressed. They were injured, and and I don't think it's going to be the case this time. You got a lot of guys that are healthy, recovered, and I think spring's going to be a lot of fun to watch. There's going to be a lot of because it's going to be competitive, obviously. And, if you're out, you may miss your window to get a position or, a backup position. So, yeah, that's where Miami's in the mode now of filling out the 2 deep. And as soon as they fill this 2 deep out, then I think you're going to have a lot of talent in a lot of different places. I can't wait to see them take the wrapping out off of Ray, because I think he could be real special. And the Johnson, I think if Ray and Johnson are returning kickoffs, you could bust one at any time. And that's what we need, special teams from, I mean, I love Restrepo, but he's no yards. he's just holding on to the ball, make sure nobody fumbles it. But you got to make more out of your punt returns. I mean, if you get an opportunity, and I think that's where special teams comes in. And Miami hasn't been real special other than Burchard's, kickoff return last year. Miami really didn't have.
Well, yeah, and I won't miss a chance to take a dig at Texas A&M, but the reason that play opened up is they had that walk-on running up the middle of the field, and he got put on his ass by Aguirre, and it opened the whole thing up. And if they had an actual scholarship player in there, we probably don't pop that one. Other than that, as you said, Blue, the last few years has been more notable for negative plays. The block punt basically turned the whole bowl game around and cost us the game.
Yeah.
Even 2 years ago at A&M, if we don't muff that punt, we probably win that game. We were in complete control at that point. It's just, and that's why Restrepo returns punts. To your point, Blue, they just basically said, we're not going to make a play. We better just not make a negative one.
No, yeah, just be safe.
And so hopefully we can get away from that. But yeah, no, it's been a while since
they need
to
get.
And just to answer Rock and Rand's question, not to go all the way back to quarterbacks. First of all, we're not going to do the making fun of the kid's name thing, but also it's because JB is the one with options. No one's going to take Emory Williams with a broken arm right now. And the other guys
Poffenbarger is not going to go anywhere.
Well, he can't anyway. He just got here.
No,
you'd have to get a lawyer to get his commitment rescinded.
Right.
Same thing with Judd Anderson. He's just landing on campus. So the only one that could actually leave is JB. And if we're not going to carry 5 quarterbacks, he's the only one that could. We're not saying he's going to leave. In fact, Jazz said the opposite. Which he's just the only one that could potentially even leave.
Right.
That was it.
We'll see. Yeah, Nightcar is special, as JoJo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, my thing, and Blue, you mentioned something really good, and DJ, I'll kind of throw this to you, right? This from a special teams perspective, but also those guys contributing this year: Chris Johnson, Ray Joseph, those
Washington.
guys. Robbie Washington. It's Robbie, right? Bobby is the linebacker. I mean, the linebacker.
Even Bobby's going to get a little more.
That's another position that's tricky right now. Is the linebacker? You've got Kiko Manoa, and I mean West a little bit flashes here and there.
Didn't play consistent enough.
Yeah, didn't play consistent enough, and you still got some young guys behind them in Aguirre and Pullman. Washington, those guys, you still, or Pulliam, whatever his last name is. He showed some flashes with that big interception. Aguirre had some time as well. And look, the biggest question mark for me is that linebacker position and the cornerbacks. So with that being said, DJ, are there some names out there, or is there do you expect Miami to still try to go after some guys now? Because look, of course, that's another thing, right? We're behind. We're over on our scholarships right now as well. So they've got to be able to get down to 85 by the 25th or 24th.
Right? Yeah, I believe so.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you expect them to still try to make some waves now in the transfer portal, or wait till after spring to kind of do the rest of their work?
I would honestly probably expect them to wait until after spring, because there's going to be a bunch of intriguing position battles. And then, of course, there's also going to be the, attrition from other programs following spring practices. So I wouldn't expect anything right now. I would expect probably more so after spring. They've already done a fair amount of work in the portal, and I think just go in with the roster that you have right now, heading into spring practices, see what you have, and then make a determination from there. Miami has done it before. They did it, I believe it was 2022 with picking up the UCLA kid from the portal. I forget his name now, but yeah, the linebacker. Yeah,
Metro Agude.
Yep, that's what it was. Yep. So
he's playing with the Lions right now. So
he is.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So Badgley beat my Rams last night. So big.
Yeah,
deal.
he did. That's right.
That was a good game though last night. That was probably one of the only competitive games of the weekend.
We've already established there was no football played this weekend, and we're
I hear you.
Bitch, come on now.
But I will tell you too. I kind of agree with DJ, because you're starting the semester, so you're already paying for these kids to go to school. So you might as well hang on to them for at least through this semester up until April, May. And then, maybe even keep some guys around for spring and see what happens. And if they underperform, then buy, maybe that they may use that as kind of like a tryout, to tell you the truth. And that's why I say that this year, more so than last year, health is going to be an important factor. So if you're not healthy come spring, then you may be the odd man out. Can't control injury, but at the same time, you got to work hard to get back. Look at Restrepo when he went out last year, 2 years ago. He got back quick, quicker than most. But that's because you have to have that burning desire, and he does. And we could talk the whole show about Zay. I'd like to get Zay on the show, maybe, coming up.
Let's do it.
I'll give him a call, because he's great. He's a good role model, and I think when we announce that he'll be on, a lot of people are going to tune in just because, he represents his school. Now and it's funny because ever since he was like 10 or 11, everybody's doubting him, and no, he's not going to be this or that. And he certainly he's worked hard, like you said. When Mario Cristobal was telling me, he says, I've never had in my coaching career somebody that I tell him not to overwork like that, because he says he'll finish a damn practice session. He'll come back and be running in the indoor for like an hour.
And all right, next on next week's show, Xavier Restrepo, baby. So make sure you guys know.
Yeah, I'm gonna give hopefully we don't have to go through Cam, but I know
Mom.
You have to go through Cam. Mom will tell me.
I'll take care of it. If he's available, well, we'll talk offline. If he's available.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Don't give our secrets away.
Yeah.
Jazz, I don't know if you're going to go. There's one other position I honestly don't have a take on. I'm curious to get your guys' opinion on. Like, what do you think we're going to do with the tight ends?
Ooh,
and
DJ, go ahead.
We have a tight end expert on the show.
But no, that wasn't actually. Obviously, I'm interested in it wasn't a joke, because we're a little bit of a
It's a question mark for sure.
Jaleel Skinner, I think everyone saw it committed. Obviously, was in the portal. Louisville was where he landed. And then I mean, it's McCormick. Did he get his 8th year or whatever he's trying to do?
He
And
might,
would we
yeah,
even
yeah.
want him back? That's another question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then we got Riley Williams played a little bit this year. You know, we still have Elijah Arroyo's health has always been a question mark.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's the
Yeah.
most talented. I think he's probably the most talented one there, but he's just never been able to stay on the field.
Yeah,
And we still
I
got
would
Jackson
agree.
Carver sitting there. And the question on whether or not we even want to throw to the tight end based on the plays we called last year. So
Well,
curious. We'll start with DJ maybe,
another,
but
that's another thing we'll talk about. But go ahead, DJ. Yeah.
yeah, DJ, the floor is yours. What do you think we do with the tight ends here?
It's a really interesting question because you kind of have a mix of, you're not really sure what you're going to get at the tight end position in terms of throwing to the tight ends. I mean, this offensive system doesn't necessarily utilize tight ends a ton. And with the wide receivers that, we're bringing in, I wouldn't expect to use the tight ends a ton. But I would like to see them a little bit more involved in the passing game because they are a nice safety valve, especially in the red zone. And let's be honest, when, these younger tight ends committed, we were really excited and, we were talking about how they popped off the page and their highs really good. And, they were very highly ranked tight ends. And so I think to not use them would be a disservice. So I'm very interested to see, how that kind of plays out heading into next year because, some of the younger tight ends we have on the roster, they don't move like, tight ends. They move like athletes and wide receivers. So I would love to see him a little bit more involved just because that's another, portion of the offense. And, I think, utilizing them would certainly make things easier for Cam Ward too, or whoever's under center. Cause, like I said a couple of minutes ago, a tight end's a good safety valve for quarterback and, especially in the red zone.
Well, first of all, I think Cam Ward does. You did utilize the tight end a little bit at
Yeah.
Wazoo,
Yeah.
right? So I like, first of all, our tight ends. So let's kind of go down the list, right? McCormick. Look, at the end of the day, the fact that we had to throw to him was an issue, right? And you mentioned it because Arroyo was hurt. Riley Williams didn't understand the system yet. Jackson Carver is obviously not ready yet either. Jaleel Skinner was in the doghouse, so you had issues down the line at tight end.
Yep.
He came here to block. That's what he came to do. And at the end, he started struggling blocking because that's all he was doing. So of course, at the end of the day, if you're not an offensive lineman, then you're sitting here and just bashing and mashing with those defensive ends and those linebackers coming at you all the time. It's tough if there's no depth there. So he struggled a little bit down at the end of the end of the season. But that's what he came for. So if he's going to come back, he's going to be used strictly for that because I just don't think he is a threat at all catching the ball down the field. That's number one. Number two, again, Elijah Arroyo. If he sticks around, he better get healthy because if not, it's going to be the same thing over again, right? Riley Williams, someone mentioned it. I think it was Max that mentioned it recently. It said, IMG is where tight ends go to die. Jaleel Skinner did not develop as a tight end at IMG. Excuse me. I think he had 6 catches his senior year while he was there. Okay, he was still ranked the top tight end because of what he did before that. Riley Williams, the same thing, barely utilized as a tight end, more as a blocker at IMG as well. So another guy that went there and then had to come here and learn a system and develop, and obviously wasn't ready yet. Okay, Jackson Carver, another guy, right, who still needs to put on the weight and all that stuff. I think the most intriguing guy now going into 2024 is going to be Elijah Lofton, right? We talked about how good of a football player he is. He might be all around the best player in this recruiting class, just from a skill set position. How athletic he is, how talented he is.
Brevin Jordan clone.
Yeah, Brevin, right. He's very similar to like a Brevin Jordan. Could play the H-back position, could play some tight end. He played all of them. He played running back, quarterback, wide receiver, tight end.
Yeah.
He did
Tough
it all over at Bishop Gorman. So that's another kid that could come in and he could potentially be an option as a tight end / wide receiver H-back kind of guy who can kind of do it all. If he's here and he works out and he plays really hard, practices really well, I can see him being a guy that they're going to start off with. So, the biggest question mark is Coach Dawson's offense, right? And that's why I wanted to talk about that because there's been rumblings, and I know a lot of people are not going to be excited about this, but there's been rumblings that Coach Dawson, who is normally what you would call some sort of an air raid type of concept, right? Although he had to kind of modify that as well for the running game. We saw that we ran the ball really well this year. We've got a really good offensive line coming back again. So there's been talks and there's been rumors out there that they're going to go to a lot of pro style sets. Whether it means that they're going to go to a pro style offense or not, I don't know. But that's the rumor out there. I don't know how excited or if that, as DJ likes to say, moves the needle. But if they do that, then you might get the opportunity to see the tight ends a little more, right? Kind of be showcased a little more in the offense. Because the air raid offense is really hard for a tight end to get involved unless he's that athletic guy that's going to line up outside, which, by the way, Riley Williams and Arroyo could do, but I think Lofton is more set up. He's more equipped based off of what he does to be able to do that. However, he can also play the traditional tight end position. So you've got some versatility there at the tight end position. I think the biggest question mark is going to be if the offense is going to move a little bit more to a pro style set with air raid concepts or vice versa. And nobody can sit here and tell me that pro style offenses don't win in college football because the national champion just won with a pro style offense. So, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with the offense. That'll dictate what they do with the tight ends.
Well, the interesting thing about that is they have been, right? What do you think Alabama runs and Georgia runs?
Right.
It's not the thing is, and this is where we've struggled.
Good point.
Well, but this is the thing, right? It gets you at the very top level. That's how you win because it puts you more in control of the game.
Right.
Now, when you're a level below that, talent-wise, the other stuff that we get in there with at other schools gets you there, gets you back. Like
sure,
like TVD was not capable of running a pro style offense because he threw too many interceptions, and you basically have less margin for error. But since your players are better than everyone else, you're able to control the game that way, and you win more consistently.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we ran that stuff when we had those teams at the beginning of the century. But now it's like you try to run those same plays, it's not going to work when it's not Andre Johnson on the edge. So there's like a middle ground there where we need to get to that level, talent wise, and look, we continue to go through growing pains, and that's fine. But I think I can't remember last time a quote unquote spread team won anything.
Yeah, not even LSU was a spread team. They
had
spread concepts, but they still ran. They ran the football. They played pro style as well. So
yeah, and I think maybe it was at Oklahoma, the last team that won the championship running an air raid when they had I think Mike Leach was their offensive coordinator in like 2000.
Wow.
Was it Jason White?
Yeah, no, that was Heupel.
No.
That was Heupel.
Josh Heupel. Yeah.
Jason White didn't, for all of Oklahoma playing in all those title games, they only won the one championship, which they won because the BCS computers screwed us.
Yeah.
But then again, if you look at the top 10, it's a majority of the teams are running spread concepts.
Yep.
So it's kind of like there's not a right answer. If there was an answer, everyone would just run the same offense.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. And I'm excited to see what they do. Jeff Lynn has a good question. Do we need an excellent quarterback coach to develop our players even more? I guess he means by players, he means our quarterbacks, obviously.
Hopefully.
Blue, I'll send this to you, but I think that our quarterbacks coach, which I don't remember his name. I know he's working with Coach Dawson, has done a great job of developing the quarterbacks. I know TVD is the exception to it, but you see what they've done with Jakari Brown. You saw the development from last year to this year. In just that one game, you saw it, right? You saw the maturity. But also with Emory Williams, being able to bring him up to be able to compete at this level as a freshman. What's your take on the quarterback situation there? We'll kind of wrap up the quarterback talk with that.
Well, he seems to be doing good. I mean, I really haven't seen enough of him to know. I mean, I'd like to see Ken Dorsey come, but that ain't happening. Yeah,
that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I just think that they, if they show improvement, that's all you got to ask for. And I mean, but they got to get along, which Frank Ponce and what's the name never got along. So with anybody, Gaddis. So
Right.
But you got to get along, got to be on the same page. And if I think what we have now is fine, and we'll see what happens. The whole thing is developing, and that's we don't have to worry about developing somebody like Ward, but you do have to with Emery, and if JB stays around, definitely have to, and then continuing to develop HR Puffin stuff.
I can't believe you even remembered that. Yeah, I think it's going to be important for the development of those guys. I mean, Luke Nichols going to come in. He's potentially going to be rated a 5-star guy when it's all said and done. So
he's my favorite quarterback out of all this group here. I
know there's a couple of other guys that are pretty good, but he stands out, man. He's a real deal. So
and he loves Miami. There's no
he sure does.
I know Georgia's come in and South Carolina,
and he stayed true to the Canes. Yep,
because he's coming. I told you they're coming back down again next year, Milton.
Right.
To play in that Broward showcase, and Gorman will be there, and John Bosco. So you'll have a bunch of kids.
Not to mention the fact that Georgia has 75 quarterbacks on the roster already, so I'm sure that has something to do with it too.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's why the kid from UNLV left there and went to USC, where they have 80 quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Miller Moss has got to be the guy there. But anyways,
by far.
Oh yeah,
he already had his tryout.
Let's really quick some high school stuff. Blue.
Actually, before we do that, can we do one other just position? Anthony asked a question. I'm curious to get people's position.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
I mean, we're not gonna cut anyone, but
no. Well, look, Don Chaney already left, right? He already he went to Louisville. There's a possibility that Parrish might not be here. That's another one, for all you guys to kind of keep an eye on closely. It looks like Parrish may be on his way out. So there you've got two guys that are already gone. You can never have enough running backs. You've got a solid running back room. Obviously, Mark Fletcher's the guy next year. You've got hopefully Trevante Citizen is healthy. And
we haven't seen any of them.
You still got A.J. Allen here as well, another year. And you got Chris Johnson, and then you got the two guys that they're bringing in, and Chris Humphrey Wheatley and Jordan Lyle. So you've got some talent there. Some of those guys are going to have to wait a little bit, and I think the running back position, for the most part, the running back position is a position where they tend to hold on. They tend to stay at their places a little bit longer than some of the others. So I think
their shelf life is not as long as some of the other positions either. So
that's true.
Yeah, and it's not, you can't go pro until after 3 years anyway. So they don't necessarily want, as a running back, you don't really want 3 years worth of carries on your body when you're going to the NFL. So
exactly,
true. You have one good year, and you're good. So look for. I mean, Parrish could be headed back to Ole Miss, right? Junkins is out.
Yeah,
right. He left. He went to Ohio State. So maybe another place where he can kind of go back to. So who knows? But
you never know.
I don't expect him to be back. Not because they don't want him, but because he may be looking for some other opportunities. So I get that. But yeah, you might still get another guy in the portal. You might still get another guy, maybe a grad transfer or an older guy with some experience to be able to help out the other guys. I don't know. It's a good room. It's a good room right now, so I'm okay with what we have. But if someone else comes, then it is what it is. So
if you've been a workhorse though, Jazz, and you're going to be a senior, you maybe there's not too much tread left on you. So I mean, that's a position, obviously, like I said. I mean, you take a lot of poundings. Your knee takes a lot of pounding. And I'd like to see us take the wrapping off of Trevante Citizen somewhere along the line.
Oh, God,
because I watched him, and he's potentially a really good running back.
Right. Well, he is Jr. Barr. He is a real deal, and he is healthy. So the Arizona kid, I don't know much about the Arizona running back. I do know that they have that McMillan kid, the wide receiver, that is really good. And obviously with Jed Fish now going to Washington, does he follow him there? Does he go somewhere else? Does Fafita follow him there? I don't know what Fafita does. Are they a package deal? Because obviously if they are, then there's no luck here. But, there's some options. There's some options out there. I think we still need to kind of keep our eyes open for that. Finally, last question. This is a high school thing. I'm interested to see your thoughts on Nashon Montgomery transferring over to Central. Who's the quarterback over there now? Is it still the kid from California?
No, he's been gone. He left, Game 3. They have nobody right now. They're trying to, from what I heard, they're trying to get the kid from Orlando Jones, but there's not a lot of quarterbacks in this area, and
Right.
as far as transferring, yeah, I mean it's kind of surprised because Newman has a pretty good football team, and they made it further than Central did last year, and now New Orleans stacking up with kids again. So, but it's St. Thomas Central. I mean, St. Thomas and Chaminade have just hit the jackpot. Chaminade with 2 receivers, and the kid Brady, who's #1 receiver in the nation for 2026. So he goes there along with the kid Howard, who Miami really wants, from Western via Pensacola Catholic, and then they already had the kid Denarius Gray on hand, and they got. But you know what? And I made a point because they have this thing called the portal page on Facebook for high schools, and I said, I see all these defensive backs and wide receivers and running backs going, but where are the linemen? I haven't seen really any linemen making moves. And, I mean, and right now, Central lost 5 of their 6 linemen.
Oh, wow.
St. Thomas lost a couple. Chaminade definitely lost. So that's the thing, unless you could, and we don't have a huge wave of linemen down here.
You're talking about offensive linemen?
Offensive linemen, yeah.
Yeah, we're not. I don't think South Florida is necessarily known for having a lot of really, really good.
They've had them,
linemen.
but not all at once. No, Pennsylvania, West Virginia type, Ohio.
Boston,
that's
up there.
Yeah.
Right, DJ. You get all the big guys over there in Boston.
Honestly, yeah. Sometimes we do, because Boston College ran the football a lot. So, I mean, my buddy went to BC and got drafted 14th overall by the Falcons. So we do all right.
Yeah,
We do all right.
Well, you were killing Boston College all last year in the offseason. They go to a bowl game, and now you're freaking Jack McDowell Jr. there.
Yeah, now Castellanos is the next Heisman. Right, DJ? Get out of
Well,
here.
it's because somebody lit a fire under Halfley's and he decided to actually coach, so that helps.
Oh.
So, plus we're a pro sports town anyway. We don't care about Boston College.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Anyways, next week I hope to have a pretty stacked show. We might have some special guests talking football. Look, spring. As much as we want the season to start, we've got a lot of things going on. Spring football is going to be wild.
Interesting.
The transfer portal, nothing gets more exciting than the transfer portal around here. So we still got Miami making some moves there. So
let's hope by next year that's not the case. The actual games are more better.
If it's the case next year, then we're in trouble.
Let's win the season instead of the off season for once.
I agree. I'm with you on that. Really. I mean, I don't mind winning the off season, but yeah, let's win the regular season. More importantly, and we'll have some baseball coming up soon. I know buckets. Buckets is rolling, so we might do something special with baseball. Blue, I definitely want you to be a part of that. So
big win at Wake Forest.
We'll talk offline about baseball, college baseball, as the Canes are set to get the season going, and probably a little bit less than a month now, right?
Yeah, it's like exactly a month.
A month from now, okay. As they play NJIT in a 4-game
NJIT, but then after that, it's Florida.
It's Florida, baby.
In Coral Gables.
So pretty exciting. I know Miami's got some pretty good prospects that came in this year that look to make some noise, and it's going to be all about the pitching.
Start of the JD Arteaga era.
That's right. So we might have to do something really special for that. So keep an eye out for that as we will involve potentially some former players and some current players, and we might have a location where we're going to have that show, which will be fun. So keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, make sure you follow us on Twitter at 6 Rings Canes. Also, check us out on the podcast wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast. Make sure you check us out there. We will be on podcast form. Subscribe to the 6 Ring Canes podcast. Again, 6 Rings Canes, and also on the YouTube channel. It's the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Just search 6 Ring Canes and subscribe. Hit the like button. Give us a shout out there, and we will definitely be bringing you some really good content coming up in the next couple of months. Not only football, but you've got great basketball coverage with Vish and Matt and Mel over at Buckets, and then we'll have some baseball stuff for you coming up soon as well.
On the show to be named later.
Yeah, on the show to be named. Yeah, we don't have a name for it yet, but we will.
There will be a name.
All right. Listen, Sheena's telling me to wrap it up, so I got to do what the boss lady says. But we'll see you guys soon. And Cam Ward is a Miami Hurricane. See you guys soon. Take it easy.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.